I have a family of 6 siblings and parents. We were very happy living together in one tiny house back in Syria. I remember when my 2 sisters got married, I cried for 3 days continuously. I just couldn't accept the idea that my sisters are not living with us anymore. Years passed and the war has started in Syria.
In 2011, the war broke out. Everything was destroyed, and we had to leave home, Aleppo, the oldest city in human history, where my parents and grandparents lived their entire life. Suddenly, my family torn apart. The war went worse and worse, and the face of Aleppo changed forever.
هاي حياتنا يا ابني، اللي بضيع وطن يعني مو شغلة سهلة يا ابني، ولا ضياع الوطن شغلة كبيرة جدا. يعني نحن من الناس اللي ضيعنا الوطن والتراب، فحسبي الله ونعم الوكيل.
أنا كان بدي بس بيت صغير جنب أولادي.
My brother Deniz, the teenage student who always wanted to study the law, didn't get to experience the university life, so Europe was the destination. The only way to Europe is by what Syrians call the death boats.
تركت سوريا بال2012 الشهر التاسع تقريبا، اللي تقريبا 9 سنين برا سوريا. كان عمري تقريبا 18 أو 17. حاولت أرخي حالي بالبحر مشان حتى أعيش، أو البحر ياخذني على شي شاطئ، يا على الطرف اليوناني أو على الطرف التركي. وسلمت وقتها، قلت خلاص، وصرت أدعي بيني وبين حالي إنه أقول يا رب إذا بدي أموت موتني بسرعة. هلا حتى صرت أرجف لما عم بحكي، يا والله صرت أرجف. قلت موتني هلا يعني مشان ما أطول، لأن ما بدي أموت موتي بالبحر، يعني موتة غرق هاي ما بدي إياها. أحاول أسيطر على حالي. بيجي هيك، بيجي الموج بيغطيني، بنزل لتحت، بضل فترة وبرجع بطلع، باخذ نفس وبرجع بيجي موجة بترجع بتنزل لي لتحت وبرجع بطلع.
Yıldız, my little brother who didn't even enjoy his childhood yet and dreaming to be a doctor, didn't understand why my older brother Hussam wanted him to leave the country. The little school child who didn't work at all in Syria had to work more than 14 hours a day in a chicken farm in Turkey. Until one day, the boss got angry with Hussam and sacked them both from the job. That was the day Hussam decided to risk it on a boat to Europe, and all what he wanted is to send his little brother back to school.
We escaped from Syria in 2011 because the situation was you can't stand anymore. Even one day more, definitely you will die. Lots of our neighbors died in front of our eyes, and even for me, many people they died in front of me. We said it's the last day in Syria. We should leave now.
I left Syria when I was a school child. I was really young. I can't remember when I was 13 or 14 years old. It was terrible, and I had to leave Syria. The war was really bad. Seeing destroyed building, people running around the walls, trying to hide from the bombs. I didn't understand why I left Syria. I just left. I left to keep myself safe and not to die.
Deniz managed to make it to Germany from Turkey after 4 attempts, risking his life on a boat.
وما فيني ارجع لسوريا مشان دراسه او مشان زياره او مشان اي شيء، لاني كنت بس صرت فوق 18 لازم اروح، وبالاحداث خاصه لازم اروح على الجيش، اخدم جيش هنيك. بدات موجات السفر مع الملتجئين على اوروبا، وقررت اجي على المانيا. انا رايحين عرفانين انه في موت او حياه، عرفانين ما في غير هالخيارين بس.
Hussam, Yıldız and myself, 4 years after leaving Aleppo, we arrived in the UK.
When Yıldız started school, he was under 18. Each day, we noticed something wrong with Yıldız. Many times I saw him crying. There is something missing, something he really needed. But what is it? What we found out is we really need my parents to be here with Yıldız.
My parents were in Turkey, and they were the last to leave Syria. They just wanted us anywhere safe, and only online contact with them was enough to make them happy. They never wanted us to go back for them, but Yıldız was 17 and there was a little hope to bring his parents to the UK, a snowball's chance in hell. For a refugee child to bring his parents, a lot of paperwork was required. Family reunion application form, proof of relationship, family photos, and dozens of supporting documents, even translated WhatsApp conversations.
I had the opportunity to bring my parents to the UK because I was underage. And of course, I wouldn't say no. Straight away, we started the application form to bring my parents, and I was thinking on my own, one day, will I be with my parents again? Will I hug them again?
After a long distressing time doing paperwork with limited English, we finally submitted a family reunion application form. The application was rejected by the Home Office under the pretext that Yıldız turned 18 and can now travel to see his family outside Syria. There is still a little hope, an appeal within 28 days. 10 months of waiting for that tiny hope was the hardest of all. The hearing was arranged and Yıldız finally went to court representing himself. One year passed since the first application. The life-changing decision was made by the judge and my parents were allowed to join us in the UK. But it hasn't all been plain sailing. My parents have now been waiting in Turkey for 7 years, and what they only have to wait for a bit more is a piece of documents emailed from the Home Office to issue their visas to come to the UK. The documents got into my inbox, but with the wrong names. We visited Laura, the senior caseworker at MP's office, Kevin Brannan, who contacted the Home Office to make the corrections. A week later, the right documents had reached my inbox again. Everyone was happy and excited. Parents collected their passport from the visa center and feeling over the moon. But sadly, I found out that dates on visas were wrong again. And then repeating the whole process again.
All right, I'll call the Home Office and I'll get back to you.
Thank you very much.
No problem at all. Nice to see you both.
Thank you very much.
Nice to see you both again. All right.
Thanks.
All right.
Parents had finally got the right visas and arrived Cardiff Airport. That was the feeling of home for the first time in 7 years.
يا حبيبي ما نسينا حبنا وين يا حبيبي حبنا وين.
For parents to stay in the UK, they have to get their essential biometric residence permit, BRB cards. Next day, we went to the post office to collect our cards, but there was no post waiting for us. Every day for a week, we visited the post office, hoping to find our cards. Hussam contacted the Home Office through an online application called My BRB card hasn't arrived. Couple of weeks later, the reply was, we failed to collect our cards, therefore they were returned to the Home Office. The MP's office again. Couple of months later, card had arrived. Before even celebrating, we found out that dates on cards are incorrect one more time. The MP's office again, and then waiting and waiting again. 1 year passed. My parents had been living with my brother Hussam, his wife and 2 children, depending on us for everything. Full-time student, we had to find work to survive.
We have a fear of the post office put message in our door. We say definitely there is something wrong today. They stayed in my house for nearly a year, and it was really so hard for 2 family living in one place. Me and my wife and 2 kids, we slept really in one bedroom. Many times I saw my mom like crying because of the situation. They were like very happy in Turkey and they weren't safe, but when they arrived here, all the struggle start again. And my dad like leaving the house, going out, and for me sometimes really I slept outside of the house.
Finally, the delivery car had arrived, holding our hearts, not cards. Dad was scared to open the envelopes. It is the correct ones, but with no entitlement to any support. Parents had enough and wanted to meet Dennis in Germany after 5 years not seeing him. But they don't have passports. An application for Home Office travel documents for refugees was rejected, as parents had not been formally accepted as refugees. They should get certificate of travel for stateless persons or those who cannot use the passport of their home country. Passports had arrived and valid for only 1 year. For parents to survive in the UK, new paperwork is required. An application to remove no access to public funds. The application was rejected. My parents were trying to make a little sense of life and accepted here like it's home.
Gardening good? No good? Yeah.
They're a lovely couple, and I think they're very brave to come to a new country in midlife. And I would find it personally very hard to go and start all over again, especially as I would not be able to speak the language. But we do manage to communicate. They are very kind and very helpful. They seem to be trying very hard to mix in with the community, and I think that's wonderful.
Paperwork again for an appeal again with all the supporting documents to prove destitution. Finally, the application to remove no access to public funds was accepted. Parents moved to a new flat with tears.
My wife knows English.
Oh, you
Little English.
speak to them in English.
What's your name?
My name is Dalal.
Where are you from?
Syria. And you?
I'm from Syria.
أبغى الجيران.
So my parents back life in their property.
Yeah,
They stayed here for nearly a year, and now I invited him for a food.
Now, all of us are refugees. My sisters in Turkey, one brother in Germany, one brother in England, and two of us here in Wales.
And my parents are lost between Germany, Turkey, England, and Wales.
I wanted my parents to come to the UK because I need the emotional support. At least I can call them now. They are safe and I don't have to think about them all the time.
It took us 2 years to bring them here, and I knew how hard it is, and now the result. I want my parents to be out of UK.
A Syrian writer said, I was crying to go to my exile, and now I am crying because I have achieved my dreams. It's one thing to flee for your life, and it's something else entirely to be able to live it again.